A wonderful morning, Saturday, the 15th day of March, the year of our Lord 2025. I welcome you all to the Afia Sports Show. This is the Afia home of sports on Afia TV. The frequencies still remain the same. Channel 254 DSTV, Channel 17 Go TV, and Channel 748 Free TV. This is where you're going to get exclusive information concerning the world of sports in the metro and also outside of Nigeria. Welcome to the show. I remain Sisi the Rabbi, your humble host. And I have here with me the guys, as usual. Of course, I'm not doing this alone. We have none other than Emeka Madwekwe, the priest of football.
Thank you for having me.
I don't know when you're going to bump that up. That ordination has to increase from priest of football to priest of sports. I don't know when that will happen.
The bishop.
Leave the bishop out of this.
The bishop ordains me.
Okay, fine. We'll see whether the bishop deems you worthy of that ordination. But no, moving on. Of course, we're not alone. We also have back on the hot seat for the first time in quite a while. We've missed you greatly. KP himself.
It's nice to be here, as always. The him.
Thank you for having me. The him. You know, whenever I talk about him, I remember Powerpuff Girls. Him. I don't know. I just remember Powerpuff Girls. Him. But you know, him, her, him, whoever. But we're here to talk about the show. We have a lot lined up today. NPFL, of course. We can't talk about Afia Sports Show without talking about the NPFL because charity always begins at home. The NPFL fixtures for match week 29, kicking off, of course, this weekend. And then beyond the NPFL, that's the Nigerian Premier Football League, we will be talking about issues concerning what will go down this coming week, Friday in Kigali. Something has to happen. And that's because the World Cup qualifiers will continue, where the Super Eagles are continuing with their ambition and desire to qualify for the World Cup in United States of America, Canada, and Mexico 2026. After missing out on Qatar 2022, and right now Eric Chell has a lot of work on his hands to do that. So the list is out. First of all, we had the 39-man list, and then it's been cut down to 23 men. And some people are missing from that list. We will discuss that on this show. And then we'll also talk about Amaju Melvin Pinnick. Well, it's too bad he's missed out on continuing in his position as a FIFA Council member. And we'll talk about the merits and demerits of that decision. And then, of course, still in Africa, we will talk about Samuel Eto'o, who has joined the CAF Executive Committee. Congratulations to him. Then we'll also move on and talk about what's happening. What happened last week, the qualifiers in in Europe, the top three tiers of Europe, the UEFA Champions League, UEFA Europa League, and then the UEFA Conference League. We know that it's the quarterfinal phase. Some teams are very happy, some not so happy because of the fixtures that have been prepared for them. And then we will discuss what will happen, what's going down tomorrow being Sunday. In England, the first trophy for the season, the Carabao Cup final. It's a northern affair between Liverpool Football Club and Newcastle United. Then we might just look at one or two things concerning what's happening in the rest of Europe. But that's how we move right now, beginning with the NPFL. The Nigerian Premier Football League has given us so many surprises so far this season. And we're going to look at the table as it shows up very, very soon. The fixtures will come up this weekend. We will look at the fixtures. So very shortly, we'll need to see what's going to happen right now. I think one of the things that has to concern us in Nigeria, in Enugu here, in 042, is the match between Enugu Rangers and Kwara United. I think that's going to take place in the Cathedral. Today. But Emeka, you can just give us a rundown of the fixtures that we have. Yesterday was Niger Tornadoes against Katsina United. That was a 1-0 win for the host, Niger Tornadoes. And then we're going to look at the others. There's Niger Tornadoes, like we said, one goal to nil. And then the other fixtures, Rangers on Saturday. Between Rangers and Kwara United, that game is going to be a very important game for the defending champions to continue in their bid to do what is not impossible, but improbable, retaining the title, the NPFL title. But give us the Sunday fixtures and let's see what we have ahead of us.
On Sunday, we do have Kano Pillars taking on Aswa United. We have El Kenami Warriors taking on River United. We have Abia Warriors against Bender Insurance. We have Bayelsa United versus Lobby Stars. We've got Aka United versus 3SC. That's a key game I will be looking at because of 3SC and how they performed so far this season. Remo Stars will host Heartland, and that's another game I like to watch because those are two teams that have impressed this season. The top and the Heartland boys who have done so well to keep themselves where they are at the moment. The Kodu boys host Eimba, and Monday's fixture consists of Sunshine Stars versus Plateau United.
Very interesting fixtures indeed. And we're going to look at the table before we talk about one thing that's happening, different parts of the table. You have the top end of the table and the lower end of the table. The atlas of the group there is what we'll talk about. Atlas that carries the world on his shoulders. So we will talk about the atlas of the group there. But here we have Remo Stars on top of the log. They seem to be running away with this title. It will take a very brave man or a brave team to stop them. Rivers United are second on the log. It will go to City FC at third.
I was going to get to that. I mean, it's a shock. Given the past 2 weeks, this wasn't how the table looked at.
No, I mean, tables are dynamic, and whenever you see the dynamism of tables showing up week in, week out, it shows how competitive the league in question is. So, I mean, I'm happy about that. But just remain the table, continue with the table. 3SC fourth on the log, and then Enugu Rangers, defending champions, fifth on the log. Kano Pillars, same issue, fifth, sixth. Bendel Insurance are seventh. Aimba eighth. Abia Warriors ninth. Niger Tornadoes are 10th. El Kanemi Warriors are 11th. Kwara United 12th. Katsina United are 13th. Plateau United 14th. Heartland, one of the surprise packages indeed. We've been talking about that. Are 15th on the log. Bayelsa United are 16th. These are the teams that are above the relegation waters. And speaking of the relegation waters, we have Nasarawa United FC, who are 17th on the log, and Sunshine Stars FC are 18th on the log. Then Aqua United find themselves second from bottom, 19th on the log. And the Basement Boys are Lobby Stars, a team that has had, I think that should be 4 or 5 different managers so far this season. That managerial merry-go-round has been very, very interesting, because the recent news that we have is that Tope Bulus has taken charge of Lobby Stars as the head coach after, Mohamed Baba Ganaru stepped down as manager after a very, very brief period. So Tope Bulus is going to be the one that will handle the reins for the next 9 match days, and 9 match weeks, and we don't know if he's going to stay there to the end. Such has been the managerial merry-go-round. But KP, I need to get your thoughts on this. What's going on in Lobby Stars? Too many cooks spoil the broth. How does this affect the players? Because managers come with their different philosophies. Managers come with their different ideologies and the states of play and strategies. And won't that confuse the players a little bit? Because one moment they are talking about Daniel Amokachi, for instance, and then shortly after Daniel Amokachi's tenure, you're looking at Mohamed Baba Ganaru, for instance. He's there, then he wasn't there. After a while, he's not there. Then Tope Bulus. I mean, which way? What's the way forward with this team?
It just gives this like a throwback to Watford in England, where they kept changing coaches. Over the past week, they announced that Tom Cleverley was the first coach in 10 years to last there for a year. But some will say it worked for them to a degree. It brought a degree of success. But what our question for Lobby Stars is the stability. Most times for clubs to succeed, they need to be stability. At a point in the season, the owners of the club have to just throw the documents away and say, we're going to stick with you, whether we get relegated or not at the end of the season, just for that stability. Because no matter the coach that is coming in, they need a 10-point overhaul to leave the relegation zone. So I don't think changing manager is going to cut it at this point. Hopefully, Mr. Tope comes with a new manager bounce and they can see them get a couple of results. But I might see them being condemned to relegation for sure this season. Yeah,
speaking of relegation, before I just take Emeka's thoughts in the next few seconds, before we move to what is very important to us, and that's the Super Eagles call up there. They are 11 points from safety. 11 points. They have 23 points. That Lobby Stars have 23 points. They are the team that's in 16th on 34 points. I think that should be Bayelsa United on 34 points.
With 10 games to go.
With 10 games to go. I mean, it's really very, very disheartening. Yeah, it's possible. Now, we need to look within the realms of possibility. It is possible mathematically for Lobby Stars to escape this, but it doesn't seem probable.
No.
It doesn't seem probable. So, Emeka, I don't know your thoughts, or do you have any final prayers? You're the priest of football, so maybe read them their final rites beforehand.
Well, in football, we have seen teams who are in the bottom part of the table escape relegation. It's not like it's an impossible thing. It has happened before.
Yeah.
But I mean, to look at the NPFL table right now and looking at the teams above them, I don't think they are going to get the results they need.
They're not even averaging a point again, which is the barest minimum if you want to stay. So it's nah.
If for instance, you would give them, it will be safe, it will be risky to give them a chance to get out of the relegation waters if every other team around them was static, doing nothing, having no ambition, because every team that begins a season has their own set of aspirations. Yeah. Some teams want to win the title. Some want to continue with stability in the season. Some want to escape relegation. Yeah. It all depends on the team and how they were when they got into the season. And then, in fairness to some teams, whenever they get into a league season, they have aspirations. Sometimes those aspirations change because of the nature of the results that come up both from them and then teams around them. Some teams, for instance, that just want to qualify for the continental places, find themselves in unfamiliar waters at the top of the log and say, hey, why don't we just go ahead and win this thing? Yeah. So it's really...
From what you said now, it seemed like that I will say Ikorodu City. For example, when this season started, most people were saying, oh, they should just try and survive, don't be relegated. And they started very badly, not winning for the first few games. But now look at where they are.
They don't look like they're surviving. They're actually thriving.
Yeah, so I feel it's one step at a time, but in the context of Lobby Stars, even if they were to start averaging a point a game, they're not going to still stay up.
You can't.
So they are finding themselves in a real precarious situation. Even Oka United and the rest, I don't see the bottom two right now staying up.
In all honesty, it is not impossible for either of the bottom two to escape mathematically. But I mean, given results from other teams around them, the only teams possible to escape are Nassau United and Sunshine Stars. If they do get results and Heartland and Bielsa drop in form, that's the only way those two teams. But Afia United and Lobby Stars is improbable.
Because I think even in the NPFL, we can still use that 40 points.
The unofficial 40 point mark.
So I think everybody below that,
which is not even very safe. I remember from England, I think that was some years ago, over 20 years ago, West Ham United became the first team to get relegated after accruing 40 points or more. They had 42 points. They still went down. So I don't buy all that 40 points. It all depends on the level of competition in the season. But, good luck to Lobby Stars. Let's just hope that they do a lot. They might want to soak their chaplets inside water and do something about that. But they get a priest. Not this priest. I have not verified his own calling. But we move on very, very quickly. We have a list that has come out. This is one of the most important lists in recent history for Nigeria as far as the football is concerned, international football is concerned. And that has to be the list, the 23-man list that Eric Sekuchel has drafted. Obviously, he was guided in the drafting of this list. You can't tell me otherwise. And he was guided in drafting a list, and that's the squad for Nigeria. These are the players that you're going to see that will have a chance to make Nigeria proud and then get the results that they need to get. Nigeria, the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be traveling. Of course, tomorrow is when the camp opens in Kigali. So Nigeria will be traveling to Kigali to face Rwanda, the Amavubi. That's the worst of Rwanda. They'll face them on Friday, the 21st of this month, March. And then 4 days later, they'll return. Actually, they'll return, but 4 days later, the match will be played at the Gospel Akpabio International Stadium. The match between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Zimbabwe, the Warriors of Zimbabwe. So we have the confirmed list. Stanley Nwabali leads the list of the goalkeepers. And then Amas Obasoje, the former Bendel Insurance goalkeeper, he is the second, the understudy there, with Kayode Bankole, who has been, he's on his way to becoming a league winner, all things being equal, with Remo Stars. So that's the first player that's coming from the home front. And then we have defenders.
Why don't I just point out something? So, due to what we discussed last Saturday and seeing the list now, there's a key name I highlighted there last Saturday, which isn't there anymore. That's Maduka Okoye.
Yes, rightly so. I think we've already pointed that out. Maduka Okoye was not exactly match fit. So this is not a slight on him. It's just because of the intensity of both fixtures and the importance of Nigeria getting these results. We can't afford to leave any stone unturned. So let's get back to the list and look at the defenders. Just give us the list of the defenders that are there. And then once we list out the players, we'll talk about, in a couple of minutes, who should have been there and who you feel shouldn't have been there. So the defenders.
We have Bryce Osai Samuel, we've got Bruno Onyemaechi, we've got Calvin Bassey, Olaina, Igor Obu, and Will Ekong.
Okay. And then we have the midfielders. Midfielders, you have, of course, Wilfred Ndidi, and then Raphael Onyedika, and Al Hassan Yusuf Abdullah, I beg your pardon. And then Alex, he will be the man himself. Then Joseph Ayodele Aribo, that's Joe Aribo, for those who do not know him that well. And then we have Papa Daniel Mustafa from Niger Tornadoes, another source of pride for the NPFL. Then we have the forwards. Over to you.
Well, we do have Ademiran Lukman, our current CAF boy. We do have Moses Simon Nathan-Tel, Samuel Rudik, Sadiq Umar. We've got Chukwueze, we've got Tolu Akorede, and Victor Boniface and senior man Oshime.
Okay, that's the senior man himself. No, senior man Kel, sorry. But that's the thing. Now, I'll just say this because we are trying to work with time. I'll say this. This list, for some, is satisfactory. I'm going to get your thoughts, but I want you to riddle me this. There's a name that's there, Sadiq Umar. Now, no disrespect to Sadiq Umar. He's a Real Sociedad player. He's on loan with Valencia. And so far this season, he's scored 5 goals in 7 appearances for Valencia, which is a modest return for a player, based on goals per game ratio. Mm-hmm. Not bad. But, when you talk about the number of goals that have been scored over this season so far, there are some names that are missing from this list. Yeah, I know, definitely leading that line, the highest goal scorer for Nigeria in this list is Victor Osimhen. He already has 26 goals in 30 appearances in all competitions for Galatasaray that he's playing with on loan. And that's 20 goals in 22 league appearances in Turkish league. He just scored a hat-trick. I think that was yesterday. Yeah. Then Ciro Desses is second on that log. Ciro Desses has 22 goals. In 43 appearances, yes, I agree, but 22 goals nonetheless. So no other player besides Victor Osimhen has scored more goals than Ciro Desses. Why on God's green earth is he not in that list? That's one thing that I'm wondering. I'm just wondering what happened. Is it tokenism? Why would Sadiq Umar be there in the first place and then Ciro Desses not be on that list? That's, I don't know.
I do share the same opinions. I mean, when I heard he was being shortlisted down to a 23-man squad, yes, I did expect, Simon, Teller, Chukwueze, Boniface, Oshime, and Desses to be there. I never expect Umar to be in the squad. No disrespect to him. But I mean, Desses should be called up.
Okay, so I don't want to accuse anyone of tokenism, but there must have been reasons. Eric Chell has not been in Nigeria for too long. So even if he had done what's not very easy to do, even if he has gone around all the match centers where these players ply their trade and watched them, reviewed their reels and their highlights, and then made his own informed decision with a little advice. Even if he had done that, he would still need guidance because he doesn't know these players that well, which means that this list is smacks of some influence, external influence from some technical advisors, formal and informal, if you get what I'm trying to say. So I don't know, KP, please give us your honest assessment of this list, inclusions, exclusions, and everything in between.
Honestly, I really like the list. I'm not going to lie, because we have a lot of informed players on that list. The likes of Calvin Bassey, Olaina, being one of the best right backs this season, and Nottingham Forest. He will be showing solid form. Then Ademola Lookman, Osimhen, those are the standout players. Now, exclusions like Ciro Desses, one wonder. I watched 2 games he played against Fenerbahce in the Europa League of recent, and he was a very solid performer. Did all he had to do as a striker. So, one thing I may add is that towards the end of the game against Fenerbahce, he was subbed off with what seemed like a little knock. I don't know whether that played a role in him being excluded, but maybe. But I still think this is a very solid list, and nothing short of 6 points out of these 2 games. Nothing short of 6 points. Okay. It's going to be accepted.
Okay, now looking at this list, just the update for everybody who's seen. Yeah. This is a list that was drafted out. There's been one slight adjustment to that list. Yeah. And Nathan Teller picked up an injury in his last game. So Nathan Teller is not part of that list anymore. So a striker has been removed from that list. And a defender, Jordan has been included. Jordan Tonoriga has been included in that list. That brings the list to 7 defenders. And I am concerned about the defensive focus of that game. Yes, we should defend. But in the words of Sir Alex Ferguson, he said that goals win you games. but defenses win you titles. At this stage, we're not looking for a title. We're looking for wins. We want to win games. Nigeria are second from bottom in Group C in the World Cup qualifiers in that for CAF. And they need to get this result. They need to get these results. We have strikers that are there, quite all right. I would have expected a like-for-like change. A striker coming in to replace an injured striker. Now, if just on the spot, I'll put you on the spot. Those who are not selected or who missed the short list, which of the players that missed the short list, or maybe even any other player that you feel that wasn't included in the first place, which of the players do you think, if you were the coach, would have been the right kind of person to replace? Like for like, striker, replace Nathan Teller. Who do you think? Starting with you, KP.
If he was not injured, obviously Cyril the Self, because there's a striker in Nigeria that has been called up time and time again, but he has not been performing. And I'm happy that I won't say I'm happy that he put on this list, but it's glad to see that they looked out for that player. The Southampton number 9.
Paul Onuachu.
Yes, Paul Onuachu. And even his performances this season with Southampton they have not been so inspiring. So okay with the strikers offered up on this list. Yes, I know Sadiq Umar, just of late, he has seen some form. He scored a wonderful goal a couple of weeks ago. But I'm glad to see him on the list, but Sadiq the Self would have been my pick.
Okay. Emeka, over to you.
Well, I mean, I share the same thoughts as KP. If not for the injury, Sadiq the Self should be here. But as he has the injury, I'll have opted for maybe Chidera Juke to come in as a forward, giving his attacking powers on the wing.
Good shout.
Mm-hmm. That he took the words out of my mouth, but his fitness concern.
Yeah, another thing. Said,
No. See, look, I'm being pragmatic here. If for instance we're going on the road, Ahmed Musa has a lot to offer. Don't get me wrong.
He has a lot to offer,
experience-wise, but we're talking about the pitch. The pitch right now. I do not want to take any chances. A bird in hand is worth two in the bush, as far as this is concerned.
Yeah.
So we will go on a very short break. We're going to come back and then we'll talk about what's happening in the world of sports here in Africa. Unfortunately, what Amos Adamu was not able to do is something that the man himself, Amaju Melvin Pinnick, was also not able to do concerning the FIFA Council elections. Well, stick around and then we'll find out what exactly happened, what befell the former NFF president and why he's no longer going to be included in that FIFA Council. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to the home of sports on Afia TV. The frequencies still remain the same as usual. DSTV, channel 254, GoTV, channel 17, and Free TV, channel 748. Welcome back to the home of sports on Afia TV. And we have been talking about the NPFL and also talking about the Super Eagles list that has come out, the 23-man list. Satisfaction, dissatisfaction, everything in between. We'll see how that goes. But we move on to something else that's happening in Nigeria, in Nigerian football, in the football space, as it relates to world football. And that is the news that the former NFF president, who was the president of the Nigerian Football Federation between 2014 and 2022, Amaju Melvin Pinnick, has failed in his bid to retain his seat on the FIFA Council. Unfortunately, he did that marginally by 2 votes. 2 votes. I think that should be 2 votes, marginally. And he was a member of the council. Now, was very, very strange saying was, as far as Pinnick is concerned. But he was a member of the council from 2021 to 2025. He was trying to make sure that he extends his stay to 2029. But alas and alack, it is not to be. So, I don't know. I try not to be biased. I always do my best because I like to call a spade and not a garden implement. But the truth of the matter is that Pinnick, let's be fair, let's be honest. I like to say things objectively. Whenever it comes to getting people on board in such sensitive positions, and this is not a slight on Pinnick. I'm not trying to insult him or undermine him. And whenever I say that, that something's about to land. Yeah, you know me very well. But the thing is this. I don't know if Amaju Melvin Pinnick has done enough to earn his spot, to retain that spot. Because, let's leave sentiments aside. Under his tenure as a FIFA council, I'm not even just talking about the issue of the World Cup, African Cup of Nations, because when he was the NFF president from 2014 to 2022, Nigeria has not won an African Cup of Nations title. And Nigeria had never gotten to the final during his tenure. It was under his successor in the NFF, that is Garba, that Nigeria got to the final, unfortunately, in 2022 African Cup of Nations, which took place in January 2023. And then, as a member of the FIFA Council, Nigeria lost to Ghana that last spot to get to the World Cup in 2022. Obviously, many Nigerians have not forgiven him for that. Now, I'm not one who forgives or forgets or does things like that. Don't get me wrong, because for me, there's nothing to forgive. I just say my mind and move on. So by default, I forgive. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's not like I say, okay, you've offended me so badly and I'm holding this, then now I forgive you. No, I'll say it as it is and let go. But Pinnick, let's forget about the fact that he's a Nigerian. Mm-hmm. Look at Pinnick as a sports administrator. Look at Pinnick as somebody who is supposed to be involved, be upwardly mobile as far as the world of football is concerned. You're supposed to contribute your own quota to the growth and development of football. How has Pinnick fared, and how justifiable is his exclusion from the FIFA Council?
I think you should take this one first. You're buzzing to say a lot.
Yeah. I'm not really buzzing. Because you are being diplomatic about it because you're the some people.
Somebody has to play devil's advocate. Yeah, you're allowed, please. Okay, but the consequences of your freedom, that's on you.
I think they deserve a bit. I think it's just that. And you ask the sports administrator, I think on what you think the clear answer. You don't have to say, I don't think that's not well. That's not well. If we're going with the results-based approach, it's an accident. So I'm sorry to say like that.
That bad?
Yeah.
Not even let my people go?
Yeah, see, you can look at it from, okay, when he was in charge of the NFF, and look at him as an executive on the FIFA Council. In both roles, he hasn't fared well. So when I saw the news, I was like, okay, I'm sad that there's no Nigeria on the FIFA Council.
Yes.
But if Pinnick is the option, then let there be no Nigeria on the FIFA Council.
Okay, so
we have to be honest at the point. Let's tell ourselves the truth, because over the last decade or so, okay, let's say over the last 7-8 years, Nigerian football has been dwindling.
Yes.
Yeah, there has been an
massive decline. Yeah.
So we can't just sit down and say, oh, Assad is going, wish Nigeria was there. It's Pinnick. Help us.
Okay, so I guess it's safe for me to say that you are content with cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to put you on the spot and say that. I like your thoughts.
There's really not much to say. He has not lived up to the expectations as a FIFA Council member. Irrespective of him being a Nigerian, I have no sentiments there. I mean, if you've not done the job, you don't warrant a place in the council. Deservedly an exit for that.
I think it's a wise person said something once that it is what you bring to the table that keeps you on that table. Mm-hmm. And so far, in agreement to what he has said, what all of us have actually agreed on, there is nothing, or should I say next to nothing, that Amaju Melvin Pinnick has brought to the table. So I think he needs to look at himself very, very carefully and then plan, because he can still run for the next FIFA Council election if he changes his ways and then steps up the tempo and then ups the ante. That's what we're really looking forward to. But speaking of Pinnick, we move on. Yeah, just give that thought.
It's like to add to that.
Yes.
I know very soon we'll move to Samuel Eto'o and
precisely, that's what we're going to.
What I think the approach Nigeria can take to this is we need to get people that are actually genuinely passionate about football in these roles again, especially football in their country. I don't think I've seen any African as passionate towards their country's football as Samuel Eto'o. And so I'm happy to see him, get elected for any position, because it means a lot for Cameroonian football. You can see, yes, sometimes he goes overboard with passion, but we want to see that you care enough. And we have not seen that enough from Pinnick. So if the approach from Nigeria could be those people that really care for football, both in the grassroots at the highest level, it will be just beautiful to see and to help football all around the country.
Basically, let your heart just be in it.
Yeah, let your heart be in it, but as long as your head is in sync with your heart, then I think we'll move on, because one's heart can be in it and then have a very, very empty head, and it will be, otherwise pound foolish. But, you've jumped the gun, so let's just go ahead and inform everybody officially that The Cameroonian legend, sorry, scratch that, please. Don't call him a Cameroonian legend. He's a world legend. I remember, I know this will tickle Emeka in a very, very wrong way. Once he was asked in an interview, what's it like playing with Messi? He turned on the interview and said, point of correction. Said, you should ask, what's it like Messi playing with me? And he was justified in saying that. Case closed. So the reality on ground is that Samuel Eto'o is one of the biggest figures in the world of football and world of sports generally. And Eto'o was recently elected on Wednesday by acclamation to the Executive Committee of the Confederation of African Football, which is CAF, during a ceremony that was held in Cairo, the capital of Egypt. So he and 5 other candidates will serve on CAF's Executive Council for the next 4 years. Now, the 44-year-old Cameroonian has shown how passionate, just like KP said, how passionate he is about the world of football generally. And his passion doesn't just extend towards Cameroon. Of course, he starts with Cameroon. He's native Cameroon. He does everything he can for the Indomitable Lions, but he stretches to everything concerning football, generally African football, world football. And it just tells you that kind of person is a breath of fresh air as far as football is concerned. Now, that's why I'm always against people who are career politicians being in football administration. I'm really against that. I want somebody who understands how it feels to be a player, how it feels to be deprived in certain areas in football, because it creates empathy. Career politicians in football administration have little or no empathy. And that's why I have little or no empathy for Pinnick. I'm being honest with you. Because he has not been an active footballer. He has not been, I'm just saying it right now. I'm speaking, but I will not speak beyond what I should say. But the truth of the matter is this. I think it's safe to say, whatever your allegiance may be as far as African football is concerned, or even world football is concerned, that everybody who is an objective footballer or football lover will stand up and give a round of applause, a standing ovation to this inclusion, Eto'o being involved in the CAF Council. Because really, apart from being his issues with Fecafoot, as the president of the Cameroonian Football Federation, he's shown how passionate he is about the job, and also his competence is there. And not just that, one of the reasons, and I think it's safe to say this on international television, because we're reaching millions right now. So I'll say this without mincing words. One of the reasons Eto'o comes across as untouchable, relatively untouchable, is because of what he stands for. He's an icon, and he knows it. He knows he's an icon as far as sports is concerned. And then he milks his iconic status with every opportunity that he gets. And he does that for the betterment of the game. Now, that's why I'm one of those who always be behind Eto'o. And that's why I'm one of those that applauds his election to the CAF Executive Committee.
In other words, you mean his aura.
His aura. No, I mean, yeah, that's what it is. His aura is one that cannot be swept under the carpet.
Yeah, that's
what Eto'o is.
That's true. It can't be. I mean, he has offered a lot as a player during his playing days, and even outside his playing days, he has still offered many things for African football and a few things international as well. So, I mean, him being included in the council, that's a great thing to see. I mean, whether you're Nigerian, Ghanaian, Zimbabwe, you will applaud this because you know what Eto'o does for Africa in general. No,
so I'm glad, and it's quite unfortunate that we have to compare and contrast these two individuals. But it is what it is. And speaking of which, Eto'o, he had a stellar footballing career, and he still remains the only player in the UEFA Champions League history to win back-to-back trebles with 2 different teams from 2 different countries. He did that with FC Barcelona in 2009 with alongside Lionel Messi. Actually, he did that, winning the Spanish La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the UEFA Champions League. And then the next season, when he went on loan, it was a swap deal between him and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He went to the Nerazzurri, that is Internazionale, Inter Milan of Italy, then repeated the same feat, winning the Scudetto with Inter Milan, and then winning the Coppa Italia and the UEFA Champions League, the only person ever to do that. Now, this is a good time to move straight to the fixtures. And of course, the results and the quarterfinal fixtures of the 3 tiers of European football, beginning with the UEFA Champions League. We now have it spelled out. We already have the pathway to the final in the UEFA Champions League. Likewise, the UEFA Europa League and then the Conference League. Beginning with the UEFA Champions League, we saw over the past week an aggregate win, a 9-3 aggregate win for Arsenal Football Club over PSV.
There was
I
no
know,
comeback there.
There was no, you can't able to come back. No, I think somebody was even saying that PSV should have just gone to, and that's fairness to them. No, they should have just gone to London and then gone on a sightseeing tour and then done everything. And then, what's the worst that could happen? You live there and then you get beaten 3-0 or 3-0 that's based on walkover rules and all that. They didn't show up for the game. But they gave a very good account of themselves against a weakened Arsenal side. And then it was a 2-2 draw, which gave them a modicum of respect getting there. Then the most controversial fixture has to be the Madrid derby between Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. We'll talk about that in a jiffy. I know that it hurts Emeka in many ways, and I don't know what to say. I'll gladly rub it in, but let's just see it that way.
It's football.
On penalties, Real Madrid won after a 2-2 aggregate tie. They went all the way to penalties, and Real Madrid won 4-2 on penalties with a very controversial penalty decision concerning Julian Alvarez, the former Manchester City forward from Argentina, who had a double touch in that game. Then PSG, another team. Oh yes, we can see that the video shows what happened. But you be the judge of that. We won't really discuss this. We've over-labored ourselves on this matter. First of all, was a touch on his left leg minimal? Yes, it was. Was there a touch? Yes, there was. I think we should just move on because the issue is whether or not it should have been retaken. Well, it wasn't retaken. You can just live with that. It's one of those things.
Sure.
So that means that first of all, we've talked about that. Liverpool lost to PSG
at the Parc des France,
and they were knocked out on penalties, 4-1 on penalties. So too bad. The treble is gone for Liverpool, and Bayern Munich did their job, what they usually do against Bayern Leverkusen. I think that should be 5-0 on aggregate. And then Internazionale won 4-1 on aggregate, won Feyenoord 4-1 on aggregate, and then FC Barcelona won 4-1 on aggregate as well. They beat Benfica. I mean, Benfica have turned to their wives so far this season, but I mean, that's what it is. So you're looking at the fixtures. Real Madrid are going to be facing Arsenal, and that's from the 8th of April. Very, very tasty fixture. Telling us what might happen after what happened in 2006. Let's see how that happens. Madrid have revenge on their minds. Then PSG will be facing Aston Villa when Emery returns to Parc des Princes to face the team that he managed in France. And then we have FC Barcelona facing BVB, that is Borussia Dortmund. So Hugo Grassi will be fancying his chances against Barcelona. And then we have the last fixture between Bayern Munich and Internazionale. This is a repeat of the 2010 final where Inter with Diego Milito grabbed the brace and then won there. They were the tutor, where the master was won by the apprentice. Jose Mourinho won Louis van Gaal in that final. And then also the next season, remember that Inter faced Bayern also, but beat them on aggregate in the knockout stages. So really, we are looking forward to this. That's the Champions League. Let's move quickly to the Europa League. Europa League fixtures. Let's have the Europa League fixtures very, very quickly. Europa League fixtures we have in Europe, of course, the Europa League. That would be
club doing the job convincingly against Roma, winning 4-3 on aggregate. Nico Williams doing the job to send them through to the last 8. Frankfurt doing the job convincingly over Ajax. Lazio did the job over Victoria Plzen. Olympiacos losing out to Glodo Glint at the last minute. Lyon convincingly winners over FCSB. Man United had to do the thick and rough at the Old Trafford and win it 4-1. Bruno having a good night. Fenerbahce, although winning the match, losing the tie to Rangers. Tottenham had to come back, struggle, and hold on to a 3-1 win, which sent them through to the last 8.
Okay, so we're going to move straight to the Europa Conference League, UEFA Conference League, I beg your pardon. But once we get to the UEFA Conference League, we're going to talk about the standout fixtures. What are your standout fixtures in the Champions League, top tier, the Europa League, and then the Conference League? Here we have Cercle Brugge, yes. Cercle
Brugge beating Jagiellona on night, but they went on to win on aggregate. Joshgan then beating Pafos on the night and qualifying for the last 8. Lugano losing out despite winning the match 5-4 on the night. Chelsea convincingly winning over 2 legs against Copenhagen, favorites of the competition as they say. Fiorentina sending themselves through to the last 8. Ligo also had to come from behind with the tick and toe and win Moldoy, while Real Betis, with the new aura in town, as they say, Anthony, aspiring the team to a 4-0 victory over Victoria SC.
Okay, so very, very quickly, we're going to look at the standout fixtures. Just mention your standout fixtures. Beginning with the Champions League, what are the standout fixtures in the UEFA Champions League for you?
Inter Bayern, yeah, that's a key game for me. Real Madrid, Arsenal.
Okay. KP, your thoughts?
I think the most balanced picture is going to be my standard picture, and that's going to be Bayern versus Inter. But I know the most entertaining game for me out of all of them will be PSG versus Aston Villa.
Entertaining. Okay, entertaining. Okay, it seems you're accusing of Aston Villa of being entertaining. Well, it's okay. They are former winners themselves, so it's possible under an Emery they could be entertaining. I'll have my eyes on the Arsenal Real Madrid game because of that 2006. I want to see what plays out. It's going to be a very, very interesting.
We don't know what's going to play out.
Well, we don't know. We're not prognosticators. We're not.
But we have a priest.
No, this priest. His priesthood is
the priest is seeing
suspect.
into the future. I'm not doubting what KP is saying.
His priesthood is his priesthood doesn't have a valid number on it. But we'll look at that.
Wow.
So then let's move very, very quickly to the conference. Sorry, not conference league. Europa League. Standout fixtures.
Europa League, I think it has to be Lyon versus Manchester United. That's a key game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be key on the Eintracht Frankfurt versus Lazio game. That's going to be key for me. Yeah, that's another.
What about Tottenham Hotspur?
I expect Rangers to beat Tottenham Hotspur.
Now, why am I mentioning that? No, yeah, I know Scotland versus England. It's a British derby.
It's a British derby.
So I'm looking at that. But British derbies that make it this far in the European competitions, you don't just write them off. Either team. And Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, let's tell ourselves the truth. But anything can happen.
They do have the chance to be Spursy, you know.
Yeah, they can be Spursy. I mean, they are consistently inconsistent. It's part of their DNA. So let's move on to the Conference League. What does the Conference League have for us in the quarterfinals? The last 8.
My standard picture is Wi-Fi pastor with Wi-Fi.
Well, on the contrary, I will be keeping my eye on the Florentino game versus Rapid, and I'll be looking at that Chelsea versus Liga Warsaw.
What are you looking at there?
Chelsea versus Liga Warsaw. Can they do another one over Liga Warsaw this season? They did the job convincingly, 5-0 earlier in the season.
Well, Real Betis is one team I'm going to be looking out for.
Nothing stands out for me in the Conference League.
Nothing particularly, but no, really, and this is not a slight on Chelsea, even though Chelsea are a shark in a creek when it comes to the Conference League. But that's why I don't want to mention them particularly. I want to see Real Betis because I want to be sure that Anthony is not a flash in the pan. I want to be sure about that. That's one reason I'll have my eyes on Real Betis. Let's see whether his resurgence and his purple patch will be sustained.
Back-to-back Conference League finalists, Fiorentina.
Yeah, they can, but they don't have Italiano again, the Sicilian, as a manager. So, I mean, but let's keep our fingers crossed as we go on this very, very short break, and we'll return to talk about the Carabao Cup, the first, somebody call it Carabao Cup. You do. But the Carabao Cup is the first piece of silverware that's up for grabs in England and actually in Europe so far this season. And after that, we're going to look at the EPL fixtures very quickly. And then we will look at one or two other fixtures in Europe. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to the home of sports on Afia TV. And we are on the last lap. We're actually at the last lap of this eventful Saturday, the 15th of March, the year of our Lord 2025, where we are still talking about sports. And we've had a lot. We've talked about a lot concerning the world of sports generally, particularly football. But now we're moving straight to England. We've landed. My jet has landed. I said I didn't say my jet. I just gave you guys some space on the jet.
The priest, I ordained myself and landed there.
Your ordination is questionable. But now, here we're going to talk about the English Premier League round of 29. I beg your pardon. That's the match week 29. The thick end, squeaky bum time is what somebody once called it. And we're going to talk about the key fixtures that are going to happen there. We have games there. Everton against West Ham United. Then Ipswich up against Nottingham Forest. Very, very interesting one.
Brighton, Southampton take on Wolves. Bournemouth hosts Brentford, and the key game of the weekend, Arsenal versus Chelsea.
The London derby.
The London derby to talk about.
Another London derby.
Host Fulham and Spurs. That's another London derby there. And Leicester, struggling Leicester host Man United, who aren't so far from where they are.
Have you noticed that two territorial rivals are hosting each other in that game? Now, North London hosts Southwest London, and then Southwest London hosts North London, because Fulham is in Southwest London. They'll be hosting Tottenham Hotspur. And then Arsenal is in North London, hosting Chelsea in Southwest London. Chelsea, a club that some people call tenants, but let's put that aside. That I said some people, not me.
Tenants.
Not me. Fine. We've had some tenants that are very, very successful, but I wonder what's their tenancy trying to do for them. But this round of this match week 29, these are the fixtures there. I mean, it goes without saying, the standard fixture has to be Arsenal, Chelsea. What are your thoughts? Arsenal, the last time these two sides met, it was a 1-1 draw. Pedro Neto grabbed the vital equalizer that gave Chelsea, rescued their blush, spared them their blushes, and then they got that vital win, draw. But in the last meetings, Arsenal have recorded, in the last 10 meetings, Emeka, look very well. Just look very well. Arsenal have recorded 6 wins with 3 draws and 1 Chelsea win. That Chelsea win was and just in fairness to Chelsea, that Chelsea win was in this fixture at the Emirates. A 2-0 win. Lukaku scored and then Reece James scored in that game. But let's not forget that was during the COVID period. So, I want to ask right now, the corresponding fixture last season was a fixture that Chelsea fans will want to forget about in a very, very big hurry. 5 unreplied goals. Ben White, sometimes people are wondering whether Ben White is a striker. I think he scored a brace in that game. And then Kai Havertz did the same thing. Now there's no Havertz. Ben White is just coming back from injury. There's no Saka. Do you think Chelsea have... No, Jesus wasn't really involved in that game. But no Jesus. But but there was no emergence of an Ethan Nwaneri too. There was no Sterling too. So what are your thoughts? This game, Chelsea have a big chance, a big opportunity to upset Arsenal. Cole Palmer has not been in the best form of his life recently, which is quite strange.
He's still been in the freezer,
yeah, but Ice Cole Palmer, he's chilled right now. He will need to thaw and then score some goals. What do you think is likely to happen? Now, please be objective about this. Now, let's remove the blue-tinted glasses.
Let's look at the form going into this match.
Yes.
Now, looking at Arsenal's form, they've been shaky of recent. Chelsea are not too solid themselves, but Chelsea have had a better run of form in the past 5 games than Arsenal. Now, you did clearly state that they have a chance to upset Arsenal, and that's true if they play their cards right. It's all down to Maresca and his boys. Do they have the zeal
or the
to
willpower
go there, and the willpower and the firepower to go there and upset Arsenal and get the 3 points away from the Emirates? Who knows? So,
KP, your thoughts?
To be honest with you, the best results, and I'm speaking just plainly straight to the point, the best results Chelsea can get is a draw. Let's just be honest with ourselves. I see Arsenal winning this comfortably. And when I say comfortably, people are going to be surprised, but yes, Arsenal tend to do better when the opposition team is attacking. Yeah, so they are very good on the transitions, box-to-box midfielders like Declan Rice is going to help. Even though they don't have many forwards, they find a way. And I see Arsenal winning this straightforward win for Arsenal.
I was getting to that, but I won't say, since KP has said basically everything, it's now down to Maresca to know how to adjust his game. He echoed my sentiments exactly. You need to be extremely careful, because when you're going toe-to-toe with an Arsenal side that is this dangerous on the break, an Arsenal side that will pressure you with or without, PSV saw that. Yeah. They even changed their game plan, even though Arsenal was slightly weak in the Champions League. They changed their game plan because they went toe-to-toe against Arsenal and they lived to regret it. 7-1 at home in front of their home fans. And there was no recognized striker for Arsenal. So it just tells you that Arsenal, when they're in the mood and then you go toe-to-toe with them, it will slaughter you. That's the truth. So I think Chelsea will need to borrow a leaf from that and do something. If Chelsea decide to play the purest style of football against Arsenal, it's not going to end well, in all honesty. But I think that we are running out of time, so we'll go straight to the first piece of silverware this season. It is an affair that has to do with the north of England.
It is first versus sixth.
Yes, first versus sixth, but in cup finals, you throw form out of the window. So you're looking at a Liverpool side who have been knocked out of the Champions League. They are feeling very sad about that. They want to rescue their season in many ways. They want to see if they can get that momentum going, because momentum is one of the biggest gifts you can have in the world of football. And momentum will be on their side if they can win the Carabao Cup. And Newcastle United will be coming up against them because they also have not won it before. This is their third final, and they want it to be 3 times lucky. They have a very big one against Liverpool. A Liverpool side that will be missing Trent Alexander-Arnold. They'll be missing
McAllister.
Alex McAllister. Yes, he picked a slight knock.
Well.
So these are very important players. Konate is still a doubt, but we'll see. The match is going to be Sunday, tomorrow. Just I think in seconds, please tell where would this game be won or lost for either Liverpool from the northwest or Newcastle from the northeast?
Might I just dare to say that if Liverpool are complacent here, Newcastle might just get the bounce of the ball and win this Carabao Cup final. I'm just saying it. They shouldn't underestimate Newcastle. Newcastle are like wounded lions that they know this is their last ride to get in the silverware this season. So they would go all out. And if Liverpool, let's just say if Liverpool don't play as they're expected to play, Newcastle is going to carry this convincingly.
Okay. KP.
I think the forwards here are going to play a huge role in where this game is going to win. If Salah is on it, Diaz is on it, then who's to say they can't? If Isak is on it, so he's there. He has given Van Dijk plenty of trouble this season already. So the forwards, whoever has that, little panache in their game at the end of the game is going to win it. But I'm leaning towards Liverpool.
Okay, you mentioned. Okay, fine. So predictions.
Liverpool 2-1 win.
Okay, your prediction?
Clear win, 3-1, 4-1.
So I keep my prediction to my chest, and I'll let you know when it comes out. And that's the size of the package on Afia Sports, the home of sports on Afia TV. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you very much for being with us, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. This is going to be a wonderful weekend with sports. If your team loses, please, you haven't lost. You just had a setback, and every setback is a setup for a comeback. Until we meet again next Saturday, I remain your host, CC the Rabbi.
And I remain your host, the Prince of Football, American Madrid.